All right, go ahead, Nate.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our end of the year finale show. We are going to be interviewing the drivers about how they feel this year went. It's been an exciting season. The standings in the championship were extremely close up until the final race, and then Wesley Dunphy takes it away. Sandbaugh got himself another win to end the season, and a tight battle between him and Gregory Bush puts him into third. We're going to be interviewing the drivers tonight, see their feelings on both the last race and the finale for the season points. I'd like to welcome our top three finishers. First place, Wesley Dunphy.
Hello.
Second place, Nicholas Camp.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
And third place, Gavin Stambaugh.
How's it going?
Thanks for joining us, drivers. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Tired.
It's nice out. Tired.
Fantastic.
So going into the final race, we had a pretty tight battle for our second to final race, tight battle between Nicholas Camp, Wesley Dunphy, and then that kind of settled itself out. But I'd like to start with Gavin Stambaugh in third place. How do you feel that finishing that tight battle with a win in order to grab that final podium position?
Yeah, going into that last race was definitely pretty mental. I knew going into that, it was either whoever comes out on top was basically going to finalize that third podium position there, and kind of got some extra time to do some extra practice and really getting used to this new sim rig setup, and I think it helped out a lot, yeah, towards the end of the season.
You started the season kind of having a few troubles, especially the first couple races. Things just didn't quite go your way, and then later on in the year, you pick up 2 wins. What do you attribute those changes in your performance towards the end of the year?
Yeah, my biggest goal is consistency, especially with these kind of cars and racing for an hour long, and you got pit lane action going on. Consistency is huge. Um, you got throttle management with these cars and brake management. So I really tried to focus my main goal on just being really consistent.
Finishing out in third place, is there anything you feel like you could have done better in order to move yourself up in the standings?
Um, I think the beginning of the season had a pretty big impact on my third and final spot towards the end of the season. But I like to see improvement, and I feel like I got pretty good towards the end.
Yeah. Now moving on to Nicholas Camp, how do you feel the year went for you?
It was pretty good, man. Overall, I think there was a couple races I kind of beat myself up, man. Losing the race on pit road happened to me at least 3 races this year, so got to try to clean that up. But other than that, I think the season went fairly good, and we're satisfied with the P2 finish here at the end.
One of the biggest things I think for you, Nick, is uh, 0 wins this year, but being so consistent, holding a third place average and pretty much finishing and starting third place all year. Do you think that contributed to where you ended up in the seasons, finishing just barely outside of first?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely did. Consistency is really key, especially with these cars. They're extremely hard to drive with, what do they got? 700, 800 horsepower. They're extremely hard to drive. So just trying to stay consistent and being there at the end.
What do you think your biggest mindset and your biggest thing that you did well this year?
Um, it's really hard telling. I like the car a lot because it drives like the Gen 7 Cup cars do. But overall, like I said, man, the car is just incredibly hard to it's incredibly hard to handle. I mean, throttle management and is just so important. It's about the most important thing on these cars, and yeah, I think overall, like throttle management and brake management, that was probably the toughest because these cars don't got no ABS. So I mean, it's super easy to go cooking it in there on entry and getting a lock up and then tearing your tires up and all that good stuff. So.
Well, congrats on the second place. Wesley Dunphy, congrats on finishing first. Kind of ran away with it at the end of the year. The only driver to get more than 2 wins. How do you feel what defined your season this year?
Um, this was the year. I apologize. um, This season it was, typically I like to broadcast the whole season. If anybody doesn't know, it's the league I run. So this year I definitely wanted to win a trophy. It's been a while since I, ran in the top three. Um, really started to like the car. Had a great time with it. As the season went on, people were starting to complain about it, saying it was too hard to drive, and I thought it was just the best handling car I've driven on iRacing. That just might be accredited to how I drive or how everybody else uses cars like GT or GT cars and stuff with traction control and ABS. But I absolutely love this car. Um, it was just I guess I didn't really answer your question there, but
Oh, that's all right. I got a lot of information out of that. Was there a moment this year where you were actually worried about the point standings? I know towards the end of it you really ran away with it, but there's a moment where you were thinking somebody's going to catch you, either Nick or Gavin or Greg.
yeah, definitely after the Zandvoort race, we had equipment issues with the wheel. I lost force feedback, and about halfway through the race, I was driving without force feedback and just not able to keep consistent like the times I was able to put down. I was kind of just hoping to put it in third like that, but it got progressively worse where I completely lost all the steering in the wheel and hit the wall late and finished dead last. That was probably a moment where I was like, all right, I might lose this thing now, but luckily we were able to rebound back.
Was there a track that you just really were proud of how you finished this year?
Yeah, Road Atlanta. I put a lot of time into that one, and I felt good at night. It was even less grip because of the colder pressure or the colder temperatures out there and the pressure on the tires. Um, just kind of highlighted the throttle control a little bit more on my end, and able to run away. I think Gavin would have been able to give me a good run there, but he got hit pretty early.
Well, we've heard from you about what your, favorite race of the season. We'll open it up to all three of you. What do you guys think the best race of the season, either track-wise or just the most exciting race for you guys?
Hmm. I don't know. That's kind of a toss up. I really like Zandvoort, man. I really beat myself up over that race, though. I had a 40-second lead, and I think me and Gavin entering pit road, man, we weren't underneath that commitment line. We had our left side tires on us, so I had a pit. I think we both had like a 40-second hold, and yeah, it was just a bummer because Greg ended up winning the race by 40 seconds, and had that not happened, uh, I probably could have got a dub there. It was a rough day though, man. That rain was just consistent and it wasn't stopping and just puddling on the track and trying to manage it. It was a lot, but that's one race I definitely beat myself up over was that one because that was definitely my race to win if I was going to get any of them this season, and it was a bummer. But you just pick up, move on, go on to the next week.
I
Gavin,
love
Yeah.
your thoughts on it?
I'd say probably my best race was Bathurst. I mean that track is just such a beautiful beautiful layout, beautiful lines. I mean, you got to be so consistent, and you're so close to every single wall. The uphill section, downhill section. It's just you gotta be there to drive it. It's not one of those tracks where you kind of just you get in a rhythm. There's always going to be something there that you're fighting for, you're looking for the next apex. And you got to be damn near perfect.
I
I
mean,
know.
I did well at Road Atlanta, but I'd say my favorite track was Sonoma. I love running Sonoma, especially with a car like this, either the Gen 7 Cup car, any Xfinity car or O'Reilly's car, if you'll call it that now. There's just so much fun at that NASCAR short track, and I absolutely love that track with this car. Although Road Atlanta was probably one of my best races, Sonoma was definitely my favorite.
Well, going away from the best track, what do you guys think the worst one? What would be the one track that you guys wish you didn't have to race on again?
Hmm.
Watkins Glen. I know it's a popular track and people love it, but I hate Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. If I had to throw it out there, I would probably say maybe Long Beach, the street circuit. It's a tough track, and there's no runoffs at all. Like you have to be on the money every single corner.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be. I mean, I like Zandvoort, but just it kind of seems we always have that in the rain, and I don't practice enough for racing in the rain. So for me, it'd probably be Zandvoort.
Zandvoort can be fun when it's dry, but it was very tough in the rain, especially with the amount of rain we had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of rain.
So, how does that impact your practice sessions if you have a rain race? Or I know we did a night race and that didn't affect it too much, but how does that affect how you guys go looking into the weekend?
I mean, it's a toss up when you go into those kinds of races, man. Like Zandvoort, I probably laid down, I probably laid down 100 laps in the pouring rain probably before we actually started the race. Just trying to practice, hit my marks, see how far I can push the car into the corner, what I can do on exit, and so there was quite I put quite a bit of practice into Zandvoort just because I'm not they I'm a huge Gen 7 guy and they don't really race in the rain, so it was different for me racing in the rain for sure.
For me, like there is as the track evolves, as the rain puddles up, there is no more fast lines. You just really got to pick what works, and I credit a lot of my autocross experience to how to drive in poor conditions, and you're constantly working the wheel, constantly working the throttle, finding the brake pressure that you need. It's just constant adjustments, and autocross is nonstop. Cars upset, so I mean, I do pretty well in the rain. I think I would have had a much better finish had my wheel not disconnected in that. But um, as far as like how I prepare for it, I mean, you just got to drive it and find out what works and what doesn't work. For sim racing, it's a little different. Obviously, those tracks do have puddle spots in real life, and it kind of gets it pretty close to what it is in sim. But the track can always change. The dry lines can form as X amount of racers are on it, and then you got to find out just what works. As far as the night goes, it's just a little colder, so you can get it. You got to try to work a little harder to get more tire temp.
Yeah, I agree with Wes on that one. Definitely going into some of those races where there's going to be elements where you can't really control, and you got to just find out what works for you and your driving style, and capitalize on those.
Well, going into a few little superlatives here, what would you guys say the hardest driver to either race around or pass this year was?
Mm.
I'm gonna hold my tongue. I'm gonna let everybody else go first.
I'm gonna say, man, the hardest guy to race around and pass. I don't know. I would almost have to give that to Gavin Stanball on that one. It would be a
Go,
toss up between West or Gavin.
go ahead and explain your reasoning. Not trying to pit
Man,
anybody against each other. As we've talked about multiple
No, you're
times this
good.
year, this is a
mm,
friendship league, and I think we've done a very good job of racing around each other. I know we've had issues in the past
You are
from,
not part of
different
this
drivers
interview.
back.
mm,
Timing. We've had issues in the past, but seems like we've done a pretty good job of racing around each other. But I know that sometimes, either a driving style or just a way that you work around somebody can
mm.
become a little frustrating. So, Nick, go ahead and explain that a little better.
Well, I mean, like I said, like everybody races clean. Like I don't think there was one single protest this year, but I mean everybody raced so clean, and they race like Gavin. He races so hard. It's just so hard to get around these guys sometimes because like we're always usually pretty competitive in lap times, and so sometimes just making passes or like even depending on the track, man. So there might be a track where there's not really a good spot to pass. Or you might have a track where it's got only two good spots to pass because I mean, yeah, you could, probably throw a dive bomb in there, but I mean, then you're running the risk of running him over or even overcooking it and smacking the wall. I mean, so it's really just about trying to stay consistent and these guys are so competitive, man. I mean, we all really are. So yeah, just like I said, race clean. So yeah.
You having any thoughts?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. I mean, really one person. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, kind
Yeah.
of starting all over the grid throughout the season. Towards the beginning, I was kind of mid pack, and towards the end, I started qualifying better and better and better, and worked my way up to top three. And but there was a couple times where a couple lap cars were kind of in the process of you know they probably should move out of the way, but we're all trying to learn. So I really can't pick one person. If anybody, it'd probably be Nick. I remember I don't remember what track that was. We ended up battling for quite a few laps, and I'm normally pretty patient on waiting on somebody else to make a mistake versus like Nick said, trying to throw it in there and either lock up and take that guy out or lock up in general and mess your tires up and then kind of set you back a little bit further. So, but all these guys, they work so hard every week, and we're all pretty competitive out here and just want to race clean and have fun.
Wes, any thoughts?
Yeah. So I was pretty much always starting in the top three most of the season. I think there was one I was in fourth spot. I followed Nick a lot when he out qualified me. Could never get around him. He was faster on exit. I was better on entry. Could never get the balance between the two there behind him. So every time I had to pass him, I had to do it on pit road. I had to beat him on pit road. So
Literally.
there was one time where I think it was at Bathurst where he wrecked in front of me and I just happened to get around, but it was still very close. It was definitely hardest to get around Nick. A mention would probably be Greg. I think he cost me a lot of tire life at Watkins Glen. After once I started to get ahead there and the stupid chicanes I spun out on, which that was another interesting when everybody's driving by you, but that was a hard race. Got behind Greg again, and there was a couple of times where man he just was really didn't seem certain on the brakes, and I would lock up behind him, and I had to pit super early because the fronts were dead already, and after like 10 laps, and then I had to drive my only set of tires to the rest of the race, and I lucked into a P3 for that. So, but yeah,
So-
Nick is definitely probably one of the harder guys to pass just because of his experience with the exit on Gen 7 Cup. I think if he starts putting the braking together with like what Gavin and I can do, if he puts that together, he's going to be the fastest next year.
No.
So
Probably,
opposite of
maybe.
that, is there a driver that anytime you kind of either end up, you qualify and you're around him, or you come up on the track, you're excited to race against? Is there like a driver that your driving styles comparative to? So when you're racing, you're battling, it's something that gets you going.
Yeah, definitely Gavin and Nick, especially Gavin towards the end there with his new setup. He was significantly faster, able to feel the car. Yeah, there was times where I was battling Nick or battling Gavin at one point, and 20 minutes just flew by, and I was like, oh, we're already 40 minutes, or we only got 40 minutes left already. So, those types of battles can just make the race so much fun. You learn so much from the other guy. That's what I got to say about that.
We'll see what happens. I got the haptic reactors. They're on their way here. I got the mounts, and so we're gonna put the haptic reactors on the gas pedal and the brake pedal and see how it changes the driving style.
Yeah. I just want to say, it's great. All especially us top three here. We had quite a few moments where, like Wes was saying, where we just went on such a long stint of, we're all within a couple seconds of each other, and you may not be right next to each other or door to door going into corners and stuff like that, but you're still in a very good position to put yourself in. If that guy in front of you or behind you makes a mistake, you can capitalize on that very easily.
Right. There was a couple tracks this season where I was actually behind Wes, and I was actually able to like watch him in front of me, and I was actually able to like make quicker lap time by watching what he was doing in front of me. So as far as comparing a driving style to anybody, I really don't know the answer to that one for sure, but I definitely liked it if Wes was in front of me because, like I said, I could pick up 2-3 tenths a lap by just following him. So yep, it was all right.
I know that at some points, especially like beginning of the race, you're fighting, you're kind of battling and dealing with the pressure, and then you kind of run away with it. All of you have had moments like that this year. Describe what the pressure is like in this car, knowing that somebody's right behind you towards the beginning of these races.
Oh,
It can be a lot.
Oh, go ahead.
For sure. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it can be a lot, man. I know there was a couple of races this season where I was in front of West, and man, he's just consistently keeping that bumper on me, just hoping I make a mistake. I think for the most part I usually don't, but the pressure of things like that, man, it can really make you white knuckle the steering wheel for sure.
Yeah. Um, your camera
Oh,
quit out there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Some technical issues here.
I will say that it's terrifying if you're up front because you don't know if that
Mhm.
guy's gonna bump you in the back. But when you're running P2 B3 in a line, man, it just puts you at such a advantage to be able to kind of pressure the guy in front to make a mistake or put your bumper right there. I mean, if you're up front, especially in the first couple of laps there before like the gaps start to spread out, depending on if you're faster or they're faster behind you or whatever. Um, but those first couple of laps, man, you're driving off your rearview mirror a lot,
Mhm.
and using your side mirrors. And I have the advantage of being in VR, so if the race starts and stuff like that, I can look out to the left and see when Gavin or Nick was going to try to get the jump. I think at Sonoma I got the jump on Gavin, even though he was P1. Um, but yeah, that first 2 laps in every one of these races, it was like anybody can win at any time because if somebody messes up, everybody's getting hurt.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything you want to say about that, Kevin?
Yeah, there was quite a few times. I mean, every race start, you're coming up to that start finish line, and it's going to go green, and you're just kind of anticipating what everybody else is thinking, and hoping everybody checks up, and kind of funnels in, and until we get a little bit spread out. But it's
Mhm.
it's like what Wes said. When you're behind somebody, you're kind of pushing them to either go outside their boundaries a little bit, maybe make a mistake here and there, and you can kind of capitalize on that basically right away when you're right there fighting with them.
Yeah, it's definitely that the start of the race. I don't care what anybody says. If I know Gavin's got real wheel-to-wheel experience, but even for autocross, even for this, for me, coming to that last corner before the green flag, that heart rate goes up.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
again, it's sim racing, but at the same time, like it's as close as we can get to driving that car for real. So, um, I don't have I haven't had the privilege of doing it in real life, but I'm sure it's the same.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's probably a little bit worse if you really think about it. It's a lot. There's a lot running through your mind, like, hit my marks, don't throttle up too fast, or don't lock up the first turn and take half the field out. There's a lot of things going through your mind, and a lot of things
Oh
you
yeah.
got to just put aside and get it done.
Because you don't want to be that. You don't want to be that prick that dive bombed it into one, locked up, wiped out the car in front of you, and then wiped out the back half of the field. You know, I mean, I've noticed, like, especially with like NASCAR, like at the super speedways, like if you create the wreck, you're usually not a part of the wreck. So there is sometimes an advantage to that. If you do create it, you're usually not a part of it, but you just don't want to be that guy that wiped out half the back of the field just because you overcooked it into one. And I know actually me and Gavin had an incident this year at Road Atlanta. As soon as the green drop, we go into one, and I was anticipating him to get back to it sooner, and I just kind of like froze because it all happened so fast. We're doing 110 mile, 130 mile an hour, and I ended up getting into his back bumper and sending him into the wall. Thank God he didn't clean anybody else out, but stuff like that does happen.
Yeah, I mean I also take some responsibility for that incident too because I covered the outside there. I slid up and blocked him. So it's anything that corner one, man. It's the heart rate's pumping. Everybody's trying to cover their position. Stuff like that can happen. Luckily, we only had like one big incident this year on that. Um, but yeah, it's
So I talked about it a few times on the broadcast, but I'd be curious to let maybe some fans kind of know a little more about it. We'll start with Gavin and work our way back down. But you just qualified. You decide to end your qualifying run a few minutes early, and you're getting ready for the race. What's your like pre-race jitters or pre-race superstitions? What are you doing before you actually jump on the grid?
Yeah. Usually before I go to grid, I kind of make sure, all my setup stuff's good in place, and maybe like a cup of water or something just to kind of keep you hydrated throughout the race. And really just try to run through your head, the mentality of this race, what's it's going to be, what challenges you're going to face, really just think about the overall track and how you're going to feel, and maybe a couple deep breaths, just kind of get locked in and ready to roll.
Nick?
Yeah, pretty much just about the same thing what Gavin said. I go grab a bottle of water, so you could stay hydrated. Just try to get locked in. Yeah, that's about it. That's about all I got. About the
Wes, you got
same.
anything different?
yeah, have a panic attack, anxiety spikes through the roof. I'm serious when I say, you know, I know it's sim racing, but even in officials this season, shut up. Um, even in officials this season, I've been starting on the front row a lot, and I mean, it's one thing, if you're starting in the back and you're not, you're not competitive, you're like, all right, cool, anything can happen. You're a little looser, but man, when you got a fast car, you got a chance to win it, like it's anxiety, stress, all that just spikes up, and the payoff is, if you get a good finish, you're like, oh, it was all worth it, like I feel really good about it now, but yeah, it's as far as like getting ready, it's just making sure all the, putting the VR on, making sure all the things are working properly. Use crew chief, make sure that's running. Make sure your brake bias, all that stuff set up the way you want it, and just deal with the stress and anxiety for the first couple of laps until you kind of lock in.
What was your guys' like most surprising driver this year? Whoever either came up towards the end or like had a certain finish that you weren't prepared for, or what do you, other than, your competitors you guys been talking about out tonight, who else in the field do you feel like kind of came up and did something really impressive?
That's kind of a toss up.
I got two to highlight. John Adams is typically one of our slower drivers. Just by showing up and putting laps in, he finished above a lot of people that was better than him. Um, he just by showing up and trying to learn a couple of things here and there. I mean, nobody's gonna get fast overnight. I mean, hell, we're pretty good, but like we're not even close to aliens with this car. So, uh, it was a fun league to race against people that are competitive with you, and that's kind of what this is all about, and learning and getting better. But as far as that, another driver I'll say had a P3 finish, probably because I wrecked out, and I think everybody else wrecked out other than like the top four. Also give credit to my teammate Jeremy Kitchens, having that P3 at Watkins Glen, or not Watkins Glen, excuse me, Zandvoort. Um, that was a nice finish, especially with the team points the way they were, and uh, I'll give him some props for that, because that I credited that because he didn't practice much for it, but I was like, it's a lot like autocross, man. Just react to everything that happens, and you're gonna be all right.
What do you what do
I
you
would
think, Nick?
have. I, Honestly, I know you said guys not in this group, but I would definitely say I think the most improved one that I would have to say was definitely Gavin Stanball. He at the beginning of the season he was not really quite all the way there, and I know he ended up getting a new wheel and a new setup, and by the end of it he really put himself in a great position because he ended up catching Greg in points, and he was quite far back from Greg because he had rode Atlanta where he'd got wrecked out. So I would definitely have to give that one to Gavin. Also, probably John Adams. I'll give it to him also. I mean, he knows he shows up to every race, and he's there every week. And whether he knows he's going to be fast that week or he's going to be slow that week, he's there every week trying to practice to get faster. So I would definitely have to put John Adams on that as well.
Gavin?
Yeah, definitely John. There was there's quite a bit of difference between a person that's got track awareness and just kind of a guy going out there for a Sunday cruise. And I feel John definitely got quite a bit better throughout every race, just showing up, practicing with us, and maybe learning a couple things off of us. And um, like what Wes said, Jeremy Kitchen definitely surprised me in the rain race at Zandvoort. That was huge. I was struggling myself, but he seemed to really collect it there and get a strong P3 finish. And congrats to him.
I know we had teams this year. I'm trying to remember who all your teammates were. And Wes, I know you said it was Jeremy Kitchen. I kind of bailed on you on Gavin in that position. And Nick, I can't remember who your teammate was.
Originally, I had Bill Wadsworth was my teammate for Chase and Paper Racing, and then unfortunately he ended up passing away. So then the second half, I had Jonathan, Greg's nephew, and he only showed up to 2 races. Bill
So
showed up to 1. He showed up to
kind of
2.
hurt you in the end.
Yeah, it hurt
I
the team
know
points.
Greg and Jeremiah actually ended up winning the point standings, but Wes kind of nailed it down in second with Jeremy. I know Jeremy missed a couple of events, but really put the time in and made it work. How was it having a teammate to race around and kind of work strategy with?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I love Jeremy. He's one of my best buddies. Especially when autocross. We're always going to the same events, all that stuff. But yeah, he kind of hurt me a lot. Most of the season, every time I'd come out cycle and pit, I'd be behind him, and luckily he's my teammate, so I could say, hey, get the hell out of the way. But there was a couple of times there where I came up behind him and I was like, hey man, I need to get around you because I got to beat the guy in front of you, to win the pit strategy here. But no, he definitely is a much better real racer than a sim racer. I know if he put more time into it and messed with settings more, he'd be even faster. But we were able to hold the lead for most of the year, and then he missed an event, and then I had a pretty poor performance at Bathurst, so we ended up giving it up by, I think, by like 30 something points to Vincent Motorsports, and that's just accredited to even if you are a midfield team and midfield pace, as if you make every race, you can still get the award. Because we had everybody up here in the top 3, whether they had teammates that didn't show up or they just had teammates that were, in the bottom midfield or bottom, that every team towards the end was in it. But the team that ended up winning it was the team that always had everybody there every week.
Going forward and knowing what you guys know now, does that change who you're looking maybe to have as a teammate for the next season or either next year?
That's more of a question for Nick and Gavin, and you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping to race
Yeah.
with you guys next season.
I don't know. I really didn't find too much of an advantage to having a teammate, but also we ran 9 races and I only had a teammate for 3 of them. So, I mean, I know originally when this season started, I asked Greg, and then I was going to try to really work with Bill a lot because I seen a lot of like potential in Bill. But yeah, unfortunately he passed away. So yeah, I don't know that it's an advantage. I don't know that I would be seeking another teammate for the summer league, honestly.
Like you
Yeah,
said, I know we lost a Bill, and I know we kind of honored that during the year, but it was kind of a blow to the system, knowing that a guy that we had spent so much time racing with, and it was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So I mean, I'm sure you guys all noticed, and I'm sure you said something about it on broadcast. Most of us had, a 7 on our car somewhere honoring him. Um, and
It
the
was
league.
actually something I was not aware of.
Oh well, towards
Really?
I think after he passed away, I know I ran it. I don't think Jeremy put it on Trading Paints 'cause he didn't know how. But Jeremiah and Greg and everybody that knew how to do it was putting it on their car. So um, we honored the 7 and we retired the 7 from this league. So it sucks, but that's the best we can do for
So,
him.
yeah. Moving forward into whatever we end up racing next, what's your mindset going into the practice sessions and into whatever we end up racing?
Well, I'm gonna wreck
Hmm,
everybody because I'm broadcasting.
nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have an answer to that. We'll see what happens with the summer league, and hopefully we get to race something cool and fun.
Yeah. Um, with it kind of being an unknown, it's kind of hard to kind of get in a mindset of what to practice and what tracks and um, just kind of keep your racecraft up and running and kind of dabble in a little bit of everything really.
So, getting towards closing it out, if you had to use one word to describe how your season went or how you feel about the season, what would that one word be?
Mm,
Luck.
mm,
I,
yeah, I
I
don't know.
I
That's a
had a lot
tough
of
one.
I had a lot of luck going for me every race, even the ones that I should have won. Somebody would get into somebody in front of me, and I'd luck into a position I didn't deserve. Stuff like that. There was just a lot of luck. I mean, we started the race this season with Stuart Reese, and I really wish he would have stayed with us because he was such a fast driver. But when he dropped out, uh, the championship was suddenly winnable as opposed to maybe just getting a second or third place finish. Because
Hmm.
I could not keep up with him. I mean, he was consistently 10 seconds ahead of me by the end of the race.
Nick?
Yeah. What was the question?
What would you use? One word would you use to describe how you feel about the season?
Um, satisfied. I would say satisfied. You know, I didn't get to win a single race this year. Um, I lost a lot of races on pit road. At least 3 races I lost on pit road. So just satisfied. I mean, we had an average start at third and an average finish at third. So just consistency, satisfied and consistency. That'd be my
Gavin?
one.
I'd say blast. Um, it was just such adrenaline rush every time you got on the sim rig with these guys. So competitive. Most of them are pretty consistent, so you know you're going to have to fight for it and either push them to make a mistake or just kind of wait back and wait for that mistake to happen and um, kind of capitalize on that when it happens.
Oh, congrats to you guys. Is anything anyone would like to say before we close it out?
Mm, I hope you guys all have a good season next year, and whatever you guys end up racing, I'm looking forward to calling it. So uh, hopefully it's a car that Nate likes this time.
Might be, might not be.
Right now, I
Hey,
think
might
the
not be.
late models on road courses and short tracks I think that's going to be the favorite right now.
I
I like
actually
that
I
think that'll
idea.
be fun.
I
I
can't
like
believe
that
Wes.
idea.
I don't think I can't believe you're not going to drive it.
I would love to, but I mean, it is what it is. Somebody's got to broadcast. Somebody's got to take the lie on the
Yeah,
axe.
I think we need to get some more safe, consistent, competitive. Have that kind of drive and other people out there. We're a pretty small group, but I mean we all do pretty good with each other, and if there is an incident, we kind of make up for it and go to the next weekend and you
Well,
know
well, it being a
just
voters,
move on.
well, it being a voters league too is like this there was a lot of people complaining that the V8 Supercar had too much horsepower, and thank God we were running this one because the last generations had more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Kyle and I talked a little bit, and we were kind of like maybe we drive the horsepower down. So I recommended some cars that didn't have as much horsepower. But like the late models, for example, I mean 350, man, you can just keep the throttle down on them anywhere you are, and it just rotates, and it's a blast. I honestly think that's probably going to be the winner, but I would love to see the 79 Lotus go in there and these guys get some Formula experience under their belt. I know John Adams actually used to race karts, so I bet he would love to run a Formula style car.
Yeah, I actually looked forward to. I was really excited to run the V8 supercars, and I remember that first. Like I spent an hour and a half just trying to run laps at Mid Ohio, and I remember sending a message over to Gavin, being like, "I just don't understand this car. I can't figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." And Gavin patiently worked with me for another like half hour before I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like, so I think that something a little lower horsepower would probably help this league, and it probably make some of these races a little closer too, especially on short tracks. It's going to be a lot more exciting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The summer
The
tends
the
to have.
ovals.
Oh, go ahead, Gavin.
The ovals are definitely going to be interesting. Just because anything can happen there. I mean, usually if one guy's wrecks, it takes out quite a few people. Obviously at them super speedways that we probably are not going to run with the late model stocks just because they're not really set up for that. But these short ovals and them throwing in the road courses with them, you're definitely going to tell who's got the experience and practice under their belt.
Yeah,
I think even like a Gen 4 NASCAR, that would be pretty fun to race too. That's pretty comparable to a late model stock.
Gen 4 got like 900 horsepower, but
Uh, I like the
yeah,
high horsepower.
yeah, that car is rough.
Does it? I'm gonna look. I don't think it's got 900. I think it's got like 500. I'm gonna look
If we're
though.
gonna do anything, you might as well do the legacy Silverados. Them
Um,
things are rough.
Yeah,
uh,
the short tracks and everything like that. Typically, the summer has more ovals. The summer leagues have more ovals, uh, which those are fun because somebody will end up spinning out, and I'll throw a caution if they're just dead in the middle of the water in the middle of Daytona or down on the grass where iRacing won it, and then everybody groups back up again. So, uh, those tend to be fun. If you get a nice clean race, there's definitely going to be some pull away from certain drivers, but green white checkers are always chaotic. Anybody can win it, and
oh
as
wow,
far
it
as
does
far
have
as
900.
as far as the oval racing goes, like green white checkers out. There's not really protest if you get into somebody and they get turned and they turn into somebody else. It's just, hey, that's the luck of the draw sometimes. Um, But yeah, I'm looking forward to the summer league, whatever they got, whatever you guys end up voting on and running. Could be legends, could be late models, could be that Lotus 79. I know Greg and I have been wanting to run that. But yeah, so
Hmm.
If you guys,
Wow.
I know Wes, this is something you had thought about and we had talked about a little bit. If you were going to pitch this league, and especially using the videos that we have of this last winter league, if you were going to pitch it to somebody that you knew raced iRacing but wasn't in a league, what would you say to that person to pitch it?
yeah, so I would say that if you are interested in joining a fun competitive league that will teach you how to be better because there's a lot of different styles of racers and a lot of different disciplines in here, both real racing and iRacing. Um, Gavin's a dirt racer. He's going asphalt this year. I'm autocross. Nick's going to be doing autocross with us this season. And we all race different things on iRacing. So we got a lot of knowledge. We're not experts by any means, but, you will improve. You will get faster. And it's a league that you could win in. As far as running in officials and stuff, going top splits, like, man, it is just amazing that the guy that has 5,000 starts is I'm only three or four cars back from him, and
Yeah.
I can by the end of the race, yeah, he's 10, 20 seconds ahead of me, depending on what we're racing, but, you can at least be at the top there to the mid split, and, be close to the top guys in the top split, if you just come in and put the work in and get some experience under your belt.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's a long-winded answer, but, it's the way this league is, man. I've basically grown it with people I know, people I race with in real life. I don't really go recruiting on Facebook or anything like that. But it's grown to I think 15 drivers, not full time, but we usually start the season with 12 to 14, and by the end of it, we're running with like 8. So um, that's another thing. I'll just say to people that do race this league, like show up every week. You never know what's going to happen. You can't get better if you don't
Mhm.
race. So
Right. Yep.
Any other closing remarks you guys would like to say?
sorry that my cat kept interrupting.
No, that's I think that's a wrap. It's just I would like to cap on what Wes said though with the it's like, I'm in the Gen 7, I run the official, and it's like I'm in D3 and I'm competing with guys on here that have, 110 starts, you know, because they live in their mom's basement. They got 110 starts, and I've got like 12 starts, over 13 weeks, and like I'm competitive with these guys. So yeah, it's just it's hard to compete with stuff like that sometimes though, because they've got nothing but time. Most of us got to get up, go to work. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I tend to
but
treat my official races on iRacing like a real race. Like I got one race
hmm
to get it right. And if I don't get the high SOF, or I don't get the right finish because I got dumped or something, I'm like, well, that's that's how the season's gonna go.
yep,
I don't typically rerun 3, 4. I know you can do up to 4 before it starts taking an average. I typically don't race 4 times a season,
no,
or in a week. I might race 4 times with
mm,
different cars, but um, that's the same thing with this league. I feel like if you're able to just sit there and race every single freaking split that populates, like, yeah, you're gonna get a lot better, but also, I don't. Most people don't have that time to sit on iRacing for 6, 7 hours at a time and get better. This league, I think, it forces you to kind of sit down, for an hour and a half, 30-minute practice, qualifier, and a race. You might not be first, but you're gonna learn more than you would in an official in a 30-minute race. Um, but and then on top of that, with this league, you're going to be driving against people that aren't just going to put the door on you and bumper you on the first corner and throw you off the track. Like, you know, we'll get around you if you're slow, and vice versa. If you're fast, then we'll make sure that if we're battling, it's one thing. But if you're like, man, this guy's just like getting right to me, like I'm just going to let him go because I don't want to get dumped. I mean, that's a lot of this league is if somebody's faster than you, you might as well let them go and try to learn from them. Especially if they're one of the consistent guys that are always winning or being in the top 3. Like, if you got the chance to drive behind them, you'll learn so much. I know one of our drivers, Jeremiah Vincent, he uh, he came to me. He came to this league and he only did ovals. He had zero clue on how to run road, and I think Nick was similar to that as well. He used to just run ovals, um, and now he Jeremiah's not afraid to run a road course. He kind of looks forward to it in NASCAR now. Um, I think Nick's kind of the same way on that. But
hmm
you know, he
definitely.
Jeremiah taught me how to run ovals because I used. I mean, I know Nate, you can attest to it. I used to think
Yep.
NASCAR and turning left was stupid and easy,
I
and
I remember having a 30-minute conversation before autocross about how NASCAR's the dumbest sport ever, and then I remember the day I heard you were running ovals on iRacing, I was like, man, we got him.
yeah, no,
We
it's
got him.
no, I got humbled. Jeremiah brought me into a league, and it was an Xfinity league at the time, and I was like, it's turning left. How hard could it be? It was at Darlington, and I was like,
You found out.
this is fucking difficult. So then I got
Yeah.
interested. It was another discipline I didn't know how to do, and it was something to get better at. And every form of discipline of racing, whether it's drag racing, open wheel, autocross, dirt, oval, there's something to learn from all of it. And if you just if you just annex yourself from a certain type of racing because you think it's, like like me, you thought like me, like, oh, that's stupid. You're really doing
Mhm.
yourself a disservice. You should really try everything and try to learn extract the power, not the power, extract the discipline and the experience from all those different styles, and then apply it to what you
Mm.
know. NASCAR, for example, for me, I don't care about driving around people on a road course now. Like, I used to always have really high anxiety the entire time somebody was near me, and now I'm just like, whatever, you're there, we'll figure it out.
Mhm. Yeah, I know I was like that too. Like when I first started racing with these guys, I think 3 leagues ago. I was not into road racing at all. Like I strictly just ran ovals and NASCAR, and I had a three KI rating, and I just I thought opening the door to run other stuff would improve me also as an oval driver. To where now I used to avoid like the road courses, like when it would come up on the Gen 7 car, like I would avoid them. And just last week we ran Coda for NIS, and I ended up getting a P2 finish at Coda for NIS. So it's taught me a lot racing with these guys, and yeah, just any way you can try to improve your driving. Don't do yourself the disservice, like what Wes said. Try everything. You'd be surprised what you're probably going to learn.
Yeah, I think Wes, you've done a very good job at setting this league up and getting us to this point, and look forward to racing with you guys next season and going forward.
I'm hopefully we can get some JEGS employees in here and get some JEGS sponsorships, but I'm kind of working on that. We'll see what happens.
Be
All right.
exciting.
Yeah, that'd definitely be exciting.
Well, thanks guys for showing up. Congrats on your finishes and in the championship, and I'm looking forward to the next season.
Sounds
Alrighty.
good. We'll see you guys next year.
Yep. Appreciate
Yeah.
y'all.
All right. See you guys.
See
Have a
ya.
good one.